Now I've learned to never help you out, 'cause I'm done cleaning up your mess. Found myself in my regrets. I've become a little stronger now, a little stronger now.
What's up?
Hey, welcome
Mikey,
to.
there you go.
Oh, something happened, huh? The mic?
Yeah, it was muted for a minute there.
It's a hot start tonight. We're right in.
It happens. What's
Well,
up?
welcome everybody to Strictly FPV Quadcast. I'm your host, along with my brother Sergio, my twin, and our co-host Maddie from Maddie's Drone World, and we have our good friend Big Water UAV. Why'd you change your name?
Because it's an FPV day.
Anyways, yeah, we got everyone on panel tonight. We have a great stream for you guys. We have Mr. Know-It-All himself. We got Joshua Bardwell joining us. So you guys make sure you guys hit the like button. Go down in the description. All Joshua Bardwell's links are in the description. You need help with anything on fixing quads. He has a Patreon. He does this for a living. So make sure you guys support Joshua. You know, have questions. Also, feel free to leave questions in the chats as well. So, what's good, guys? What's been going on? How was your day?
Same old hot weather. Very hot.
Oh yeah,
but it's flyable.
There you go.
Ain't no weather gonna put me. No weather gonna put you down for flying. Maybe
no, sir.
For me, maybe snow. No snow for me.
Maybe that's snow. Yeah.
Yeah. Other than that, we're good.
Yeah. Yeah. So I just want to let everyone know, don't forget, the links are in the description as well for our FPV event, the Quad Mafia FPV Palooza that's happening August 4th, 5th, and 6th. And we'd like to thank Joshua and Blunty for showing that on their stream as well.
Yeah, that was great that they plugged that.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
absolutely.
August 4th, 5th, and 6th in Eagle River, Wisconsin, the Quad Mafia FPV Palooza.
So I love how
That's
he adds
right.
at the end. Palooza.
Yeah.
So
and it's a free event. A free event.
Yeah, it's a free event. We got the sponsors that you've seen on the streaming that we had in the beginning before we went on. Those are all the sponsors that are going to be there. So, so yeah, let's not keep Joshua waiting. We're going to say hello to everybody in the chats first, and we're going to go down the list here real quick. Just want to welcome everybody.
Hey, real fast, Mikey. I just want to let
yeah.
everybody know that's watching. This is not a stream this is a stream on Fly Zone Drones that Joshua Bardwell is a guest on. For anybody in Joshua Bardwell's chat watching, it's just a simulcast stream with him as a guest. I just want everybody to know that. So,
well, on his stream, we're his guests.
Right? Yeah,
right.
Pretty much.
So on Joshua's stream, we're his guests, and then on Maddie's stream, we're his guests.
Yeah, I'm streaming it too, but ain't nobody gonna watch mine. We're good.
Right. Anyways, let's say hello to everybody, huh? We got 107. Well, we got Chris Quad FPV, 107 Drones. We got Nappy FPV in here. We got Roger Technique FPV. We have E-Drone, Eric. Good to see you, brother. Always good to see you. We have let's see, Steve-O, Captain Drone America, Mike Bergman. We have One Eye FPV, Nappy's in here, Airframe FPV, Brandon Beans. There's a bunch because of everybody. You know, your stream and Joshua. I'm gonna read.
Got 105 people watching right now.
Yeah, Rose Burns, Quadcopters and Tech, Tony, Robert, Virtuafly. We got One Uki, something like that. One Uki. Mark R. White, Cool Cat. We got the Ghost Branch FPV, Michael Ghost, TJ Giggles, and TJ Giggles and Drones. We got Steve Forth 30X8 or something. We got let's see, let's go up real quick. Mike Sullivan, hello. John Coopy, the Coopster in the house. We got
what's up, John?
Ravogi FPV. Bobcat we got in here. We got let's see. Robert Rosser. We got let's see real quick. Let me go up. Marcel's in here. Good to see you, Flexo 3D, Slogged FPV. We got Jim in here.
QC guy, Chris.
Blaze Go, Mr. Skyfly. Yeah. Chris QC guy, Nash, Tweak FPV,
great crowd,
Willpower FPV, yeah, drone shots. We got Jody in here, and we'll mention everyone else in a little bit. We got Black Mamba FPV and TJ. That's all I got from the list. So yeah, there you go. Welcome in, guys. Thank you for popping in and giving the support.
Yeah, good crowd.
So anyways, let's not keep Joshua. Yeah, let's not keep Joshua Bardwell waiting. Let's bring in Joshua Bardwell.
I'm Joshua Bardwell, and you're going to learn something today. The motors are fine. They're a little warm. They're not even hot. It's crazy. You may be looking at this and thinking, my God, this is amazing. Finally, I can fly a big freaking...
Everybody get who is all fired up? Y'all better just rise up. Everybody getting sized up. Before we all rise up, start running your times up. Cause my crew fired up, the sky gon' light up. Everybody get fired up. I walk this planet the most rugged. Most can always see this heat, but don't touch it. Cause you might get them burned when I come.
Wow.
Yes, sir.
I got to get you guys to make my hype reel. That was amazing.
Mikey, you still muted. Yeah. Mike, you're still muted.
Backstage! No, I'm back! I'm in the show. Hey! What's up, guys?
You got to give all that credit to Mikey.
My bad.
Nice work, Mikey. Damn, dude.
Thank you,
some more of that. That was great.
You're going to learn something today.
You can make a hype reel.
How you doing, buddy?
Oh, man.
Yeah,
so what's up, Joshi? How you doing, man?
Oh, I'm great. I'm glad to be here.
Good.
Glad to be here. Sorry for the confusion with the simulcast. I never knew that you could simulcast on StreamYard. And then as I was logging in, it was like, hey, you could. I was like, yeah, let's give it a boost. But then a whole bunch of people were really confused. So I hope everybody's straight now on what's going on. I am your guest. I don't want to run this show. You guys got your thing going.
Yeah, you got to run the show. You take it over, Josh.
No. The last thing anybody wants is just me answering people's questions. I already did that for 2 hours. I'm here to answer your questions. You guys, the interviewers.
There you go.
What do you got?
That's right. He's
What
right.
do you want to talk about?
So,
Well, I'll just start out with a quick comment of
Yeah, go ahead.
what an inspiration you are. You've been with me from the start in my FPV journey. You are truly one of the originals. You are the professor, a great teacher, and it's a pleasure to finally meet you.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Fact.
And
That's a fact.
thank you. That means a lot.
Agreed on every level, bro.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you.
Anytime I need anything from it, you're the first channel I go to, and
Well,
Appreciate it.
I hope I keep earning that. You know.
oh yeah, you're going to.
Yep.
Yeah.
You just keep doing you, man.
Thank you. Thank
and
you, guys.
They come. Absolutely. So, Mikey, we got some questions set
There
up
you
for him. Yeah.
Yep, go ahead. You can start, Matt, if you want.
I you know what? I've never actually had an interview with you before, and I was always curious as to how you actually got started in this hobby.
How I got started in this hobby, a friend of mine brought a DJI Phantom over to my house. I'd never even seen a multi-rotor before, and it freaking blew my mind. Like, I'd flown RC aircraft a long time ago when I was a kid, and, like, they're hard to fly. It was a fixed wing. And, like, you have to really, it takes a lot of skill and practice. And this Phantom was just a completely different beast, the way it would just, like, hover in the air. And I thought, well, that's cool, but that's expensive. And my wife was actually like, can you just build one? And I'm like, no, what are you talking about? That's all, like, you can't build that. Little did I know. So, like, that's actually rekindled my love for RC flight. And I went and got an airplane, like I had when I was a kid. And I flew fixed wing for a while, but then I started watching flight test videos. I was watching flight test. They got into FPV. I was watching Rotor Riot videos. They got into FPV. Watching Sharpoo, you know, and decided to build a multi-rotor and really never looked back. So that's the short version of the story.
And how long ago was that you built your first one?
That would have been around 2015 or maybe 2014. It was around that time frame.
So that's before the rules and regulations got a little tougher.
Way before. I mean, the rules and regulations have only started. That started in like the 2020 time frame.
Yep.
So, you know, everything was pretty wide open until 2020 was when remote ID first came on the scene. Registration was a little earlier than that, but yeah, that was wide open. It was nothing.
Yep.
Cool.
And you've got so much knowledge when it comes to the online and the building, the repairing, the tuning aspect of it. Did you actually teach that yourself, or was that something you learned off?
I mean, the same way anybody learns that stuff, right? I just seem to have a knack for remembering it. And the other thing is that you reach this sort of critical mass where once you become once people become aware of you as a resource to answer questions, then they start asking you more and more questions. And every one of those questions is an opportunity to learn something, right? So it's because the same way that you bring your car to the mechanic and really no matter what's wrong with it, they've seen it all, right? So they just immediately kind of know what's wrong most of the time. Well, you know, that's why I try so hard to keep up with, you know, my emails and answer questions. And because that's what sort of keeps me fresh and keeps me learning about new problems that come out, because there's always new problems.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Dave
So
Fly
Fly says you're going to burn
something
something. Did you see his shirt he made of you, Josh?
Yeah, I did.
I
love it. Love it. Fly High's awesome. I'm not wearing a Fly High shirt today. For the record, I'm wearing a Captain Kazi shirt today. It also makes good shirts, but Fly High makes great shirts. I love my Fly High shirts.
Yep.
My
Agreed.
favorite is probably the Metallica Master of Puppets. He's got a shirt that looks like the cover to Metallica Master of Puppets. It's a fantastic shirt.
That's a fantastic question right there by
So
Ohm.
FPV. Yeah.
Who was your Joshua Bardwell?
It's gotta be So two things probably. One would be flight test. Like a lot of the stuff I learned when I was very first getting into FPV. My first FPV drone was a flight test build. And the other would be back in the day, most people went to RC groups, which is an online forum. It still exists. I don't know how active it is though. But that was the place to get information and get troubleshooting and knowledge about RC hobby. It feels like YouTube was not as well developed then. Maybe that's how I remember it anyway. So like, that's where I started asking questions and learning. Those are two influences, I would say.
So what advancements since you started in the FPV community have you, what's the biggest change you've seen?
Yeah. It's really, I mean, if I had to pick one thing, it's really got to be digital video, right? Like, there are so many things you could point to that changed how make quadcopters fly better. Like, Crossfire certainly is on the list. The Crossfire was the first really, I shouldn't say it's the first long-range control link, because, of course, there were 400 megahertz, there was Dragon Link, and so forth. But Crossfire was what made long-range control links mainstream. That's huge. I think maybe it's a toss-up between Crossfire and digital video. I think I picked digital video because digital video was in a lot of ways much harder than a long-range control link. So it really just completely changed the experience of flying.
Interesting.
Oh man.
So Joshua, have you encountered any difficult or dangerous situations while flying FPV drones, and how did you handle them?
You know what? I'm going to answer that, but actually, I gotta pay respect to Sean Williams' question. Sean Williams, thank you for reminding me about Project Blue Falcon. Project Blue Falcon, no longer with us for many years, but a great resource and well worth paying homage to.
Nice.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell me the question again.
So, have you encountered any difficult or dangerous situations while flying FPV drones, and how did you handle them?
Dangerous for me? No. Dangerous for other people? Maybe. You know, one stands out to me is we were flying at a park in Knoxville, and it was, Sunday afternoon, and we were all flying, and slowly people trickled away. And then it was just me and one guy flying, and then he left, and I was flying by myself. And I wouldn't say that we had spotters per se, but, there were other people there kind of keeping an eye on things. But now I was by myself, and I was just getting one more pack. And as I split S over the top of this little gazebo thing in the park, there's a dog walker there, and I didn't see her. And it is sheer luck that I didn't hit her, right?
Wow.
And I didn't hit her.
Wow.
And she didn't know how close she came to getting hit. She was just in her headphones doing her thing. But it really freaked me out. I went and I said, "Hey, sorry, didn't mean to fly so close to you there." And she was like, "Huh?" So fortunately, but it really made me think, because I really thought I was being safe. I thought I was flying within my capabilities. And she just kind of, somehow I didn't see her come into the flight area. And I just completely missed her. And I had no control over whether I hit her or not. And if I had hit her, it would have been really bad. So, I mean, I think about that sometimes when I'm deciding whether I'm going to fly in a certain place or not.
Sure. You want to survey the environment first.
Always.
Yeah.
Always.
Yep.
Yeah. There was a construction site near my house, and it was this huge shopping development, mixed use apartments. And so there's this giant lot with like 8 or 10 different concrete stairwell. You know, the stage of construction where they put the concrete pads down, and now they've built the stairwells, right? And the buildings haven't gone up yet. And so I'm like, there's no stairs in the stairwells yet either. It's just these concrete cylinders, these cinder block cylinders. And I'm like, oh man, that would be great to like dive and go in and out. And I tried to go fly it, and I went there, and right across the street from it is this huge active grocery store shopping center. And like there's traffic, and the whole construction site is pretty clear, but I just didn't feel great about it. And I just, I ended up not flying it just because like I just didn't I just thought the risk was not really worth it. So,
Right.
you know.
Nappy FPV, thank
Well-
you for becoming a member, buddy. Thank you.
Thank you,
Nice.
thank you. Hey, Joshua, I have a question now. What advice would you give to inspire FPV pilots who want to improve their skills and get started in the hobby?
Well, the advice for getting started is different than the advice for improving, I would say. Getting started, I always say start in the simulator. People have probably heard me give that advice. You know, get your simulator hours in and don't break things in real life until you start to get a little bit of control. Advice for improving, I would say, one of the things I've learned as watching people learn in the hobby is they say stick time, right? The more stick time you have, the better you get. And that's true to a degree. But I've met people who, let's say they're in their first, say, 20 to 40 hours, right? And they've put in 30 hours in a simulator and they've been running race courses. And they've gotten kind of okay at running race courses. But then if you ask them to like do a split S or dive a building, they have no idea how to do it because all they've been doing is running race courses. So I would say to get better, you need to practice. You need to practice with intent. If you're just relying on stick time and you're always doing the same stuff that you do, you'll sort of plateau and you won't get any better. You'll get a little better. But what you really have to do is identify the things that you can't do and that you might want to be able to do. Identify the things that sort of push your boundaries and work those things with intent.
Right,
Great
right.
information.
Thank you. Great advice.
I just realized my Nightbot is leaving chats in
Yeah, I
your
see that.
stream.
Yeah, I
That's
see it.
funny. All right,
Yep.
well, I guess some of
It's
those
okay,
like
dude. It's perfect. It's all in there. Look,
No,
it's all in there. Your web,
Okay.
what I put in the description is there. It's perfect.
yeah.
Well, it's good
great.
because it shows up on our screen here on Fly Zone, which gives
Yeah,
everybody.
but it's also like plugging my live stream schedule, which is
That's
not
a-
your live stream schedule.
That's a
so
good thing, though, for
Yeah.
you. You know, that's a
Yeah.
great. You're
No
you're
big
already
We're
ahead.
all
well-
one big happy
Dude,
family.
there you go.
here.
There you go.
Agreed.
It's going to
Josh,
confuse people
everybody in here
though.
watches you.
Oh, well, sure.
Everybody in
Yeah,
here
yeah,
watches you.
So you
So-
you just had that conversation, and Mike, I want to bring up a point. John Coopy brought up a question that was a good question about: do you think that FPV has peaked where it is at this point?
That depends on how you define it. So, like, there's a sense in which the pure sort of hobby form of FPV, just from a strictly numbers perspective, I definitely think it's lower now than it has been at times in the past. Now, it's difficult to say, well, has it peaked? Because, like, you can go up, you can go down, you can go up again, right? Anybody who, like, follows the stock market or plays with cryptocurrency knows, like, just because you're currently going down doesn't mean you've peaked. You really don't know. And so from that perspective, people look at regulations like remote ID, and they think that there's definitely some people who are getting out of the hobby because of remote ID, right? And they're like, it's not worth it. So that's the perspective from which you could say, oh, well, has it peaked? But on the flip side, there's ways in which FPV is doing things that it has never done before. You look at Michael Bay put Vanover in the ambulance movie, right?
Right.
Like,
Yeah,
if
that
you
was
go
awesome
back
movie.
to 2017, when it's just a bunch of freaking dudes sitting out with goggles on their face, flying, having a good time. If you go back there and you say there's going to be a major motion picture with an FPV drone carrying a cinema camera, like, that's just one example of ways in which FPV is continuing to grow and continuing to get out into the world. Numerically, I hope that it hasn't peaked. I hope that we see it continue to grow, and it can,
Agreed.
but it's hard to predict. It's hard to predict.
Yeah.
Well, with the sore subject of remote ID,
Mhm.
I'm not sure if that is going to force people out or cause people not to want to get into it in the first place. It's a tough situation there, and
Yeah, it's dumb because, like, the vast majority of people won't know that remote ID exists.
right,
The people who do know it exists, many of them will completely ignore it.
right,
And the vast, vast majority of those people will have no negative effect whatsoever. So when I see, if you got somebody like me, like, obviously I have a target on my back. Like, it's not like the FAA doesn't
Right.
know I exist. And the FAA knows the reach that I have. And so if they just, because their enforcement efforts are not just about getting $1,500 from this one pilot for his violation. They don't give a fuck about that. But their enforcement efforts are about letting people know. They care more about the education. So I imagine they're going to be like, okay, well, can we get Bardwell? Because then we can say, hey, if you make a video about this saying, oh, my bad, here's what I did wrong, then we'll drop the fines. And I'm not making that up. They've done that with other creators in the past. It's not like, that's just how it works.
Right.
So like if you're somebody like me and you go, remote ID's coming, what am I going to do? But if you're just a normal guy, especially if you don't post on YouTube, which most people don't.
Right.
It doesn't matter. It really, I think realistically, it's not going to matter. So when I hear people saying, I thought about getting into FPV, but all this regulation, like, I don't know. Do you just like really, really need to be by the book? Because really it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Well, and I think the majority of us tend to want to, you're going to avoid crowds and you're going to avoid places where there are a lot of people when you fly anyways. So you're not going to be on the radar.
Yeah.
Right?
Most people aren't.
Yeah, I mean, I fly local parks.
$300 for 300.
Well, I think the prices are going to go down at some point, maybe
at
the end of August. At the end of August, you're going to see a wide variety of modules, or at least that's what I'm assuming is going to happen.
There's going to be cheaper modules. They'll get down to like the $50 price point, maybe. But my point is that if you speed on the highway, then you're already taking more risk than if you fly without a remote ID module.
Yeah.
Because if you speed on the highway, there's freaking cops everywhere.
Right.
That want to give you a ticket. Okay. But if you're flying without a remote ID module, the FAA, they just don't have the resources they're going to pick a few examples to make loud examples of. I hope I'm not one of them. But
we'll stay off the radar usually, and you usually don't end up one.
For most people, it just doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
No, I think that's the realistic take.
And their first course of action outside the big guys is going to be education again. I'm on the FAST team, and as a drone pro, and that's what they stress. You educate first.
Yeah.
Right.
What do you think of this? What do you think of this comment from Novice Quads, though? Can you put that one up? Because I wonder about that.
That's
I'm not trying to run your stream, but the one about the ones that aren't making money.
No.
The 107 comment. I see it.
Yeah. I've heard this before.
This one here.
Bot Grinder made that video where he was like, fuck it. Can you swear on your stream?
Yeah, you're good.
Oh, I figured.
Go ahead.
He was like, fuck remote ID, yada, yada, yada. And some people on that thread were like, I guess Bardwell's not saying anything because, he has to make money. And I'm like, I'm not sure I get that. Is the idea that people who make money have to fly under the radar or otherwise they'll lose their source of income?
Right. Now, I guess there's a difference between flying at a local park or flying on a job site. Like for me, I'm a 107 pilot and I have two of my quads, my rigs set up for 107 registration. If it's a hoop I have to jump through to make that money that I have to make to provide for my family,
that's true.
That's what I'm going to do.
That's
what I'm going to do. The recreational FPV rigs that I'm flying with at the local park, I'm not going to say that I'm going to comply or not comply, but I'm also not going to shout it out the rooftops on my YouTube channel that fuck you guys. Unfortunately, I'm not going to do it.
Right.
I do see a lot of that.
I do agree that it's different if your livelihood depends on your 107.
Right.
The FAA can pull that 107 really at any time for any reason with basically no recourse. And if what you do is like post on YouTube, like you could argue, well, maybe they'll come after me, but I'm still going to keep posting. Like, Philly Mikey is still posting after he got dinged by them. I'm not sure what the deal is there, but he apparently hasn't gone to prison, which you can't go to prison for civil offenses. That's just a joke. Right. I assume he hasn't paid the FAA $180,000 and he's still posting videos. And as far as I know, he's still monetized. But if you work if you actually do commercial work, like on job sites, they want to know that you have insurance. They want to know that you're legal. And if you're not, you're going to miss out on a lot of those jobs, and losing
Yeah.
your 107
Yeah.
will really cut you off. But like you said, I mean, just if you're in a state where pot's not legal, it would be dumb of you to like walk down the street going, "I've got cannabis, hey!"
Yeah.
And if you fly FPV for your job, I think it's like I'm not going to say it's dumb because I don't want to disrespect Bot Grinder for being willing to take that risk, right? But I'm not going to disrespect anybody who says, "Look, I've got to feed my family. I'm not going to put a target on my back."
Well, I think a lot of us can understand the reasons behind remote ID because it is a basis possibly for UTM. It's just the implementation that's piss poor.
Agree.
Is the
Understand.
problem.
Completely.
It would have been possible to create a system that did the things that remote ID is supposed to do without being abusive and intrusive.
Right.
But instead what they did is they made a system that's abusive and intrusive and that also doesn't accomplish any of the like security and safety goals.
Right.
So like they've got the worst of both worlds.
Right. Right. Yeah. And they compare it to a license plate, but your license plate is not broadcasting your home address, your home position.
Right.
And now, of course, that's only going to come into play with standard remote ID.
Yeah.
Your broadcast module, well, of course, it may broadcast the position when it first fires up and launches. But anyways, exciting stuff. Exciting
608
times
app.
we live in.
I don't see it being, I don't see this being mass known though to the public as much as people think it's going to be.
I agree.
Um,
Yeah.
No
I
one,
gotta be
no one
honest.
cares.
Nobody does care, and it does not take somebody, whether they're out to rob somebody or whatever the case is, to find me with a remote ID module. Shit, they can hear my 5-inch quad from a mile away.
I got to say, I've been in parks before where I see a quad flying around and I think, oh, where that guy is, I'd like to go say hi. And then I can't find him.
Can't find them.
I don't know where he is. Like, so I mean, remote ID will make a difference in the ability to find a pilot. It is true.
Well,
Well, a little bit of aluminum tape will solve that problem.
You could always disable the module. It's just like, who are you fooling?
Right.
Like, if
There's already a hack for it.
right.
most of the time, it doesn't matter whether you have the module at all because no one cares.
Right.
And
Right.
if you get into a situation where someone cares, will the fact that you like, why, if you're going to put aluminum tape and disable the module, why not just not have the module? Like, why? What are you gaining?
Right.
I guess is what I wonder.
Yeah.
Right. True. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. It just it's been a mass amount of videos on YouTube lately about this, and it's like if you didn't want the public to know about it first, you're letting them know now.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, and a lot of it,
Yeah,
I think,
well,
stems from that video that the FAA put out. That was just asinine. The FBI and
There was another. I'm not going to say who this was. I'm not going to say who this was. It was an influential person in FPV whose opinion definitely matters, but they didn't make this statement publicly, so I won't name them. But I asked them, "Hey, there's this thing we're going to do to try to raise awareness about remote ID. Do you want to be a part of it?" And they said, to be honest with you, we're not going to do that because we think the more people who know about remote ID, the more sort of fear there is, the more people are just like, I don't know if this FPV thing is for me. And their idea was that the best thing for FPV was to just ignore it. They were like, it's going to happen.
Right.
We're not going to change it. So raising people's awareness of it just makes them more scared. The best thing we can do is to just pretend it doesn't exist and hope people don't notice. And I'm not saying they were right, but I do think I was like, that's an interesting take.
Mm-hmm.
And if there's people out there who are silent, I think that some of the heat that I've gotten has been like, oh, why aren't you saying more why aren't you doing like Bot Grinder and XJet and shouting from the rooftops? And I'm not saying that's my reasoning either, but I am saying that's an interesting reasoning that is not without merit.
Right.
Well, but I think it's going to get settled in the courts as far as the intrusiveness. It'll get settled in the courts. It's
Yeah.
not going to get taken
Yeah.
care of by YouTube videos. That's for sure.
Nor is it
Yeah.
going to change.
Exactly.
You know, I mean, we could do as much as we want or as we can as a hobby, as a group, to try and get them to understand. Listen, you guys need to go back to the drawing board. You know, for certain situations,
But they're not going to do that.
but they're not gonna.
Change a few things.
See, it's
They're not.
Yeah, they're
it
not.
annoys
They're
me.
government.
It annoys me. It annoys me, and I'm not annoyed at the people making the suggestions because they're just trying to be helpful. I have annoyance at the situation as a whole when people say, especially this late in the game, "Hey, you know what we need to do? We need to make it so it's only 300 feet, so it's yada yada yada." They got all these suggestions for how it should be different. It's like, yo, that was maybe vaguely helpful in 2020 when they were in the public comment section. The
Right.
rule has been written. It has been passed. There are no fundamental changes that are going to occur,
No.
and so it's not productive at this point to be trying to imagine that you can make fundamental changes in the structure of of remote ID.
Right. Right.
I do. I'm all up for just ignoring, like the ignoring it and letting it be and do whatever you got. You know, if you want to comply, comply. If you don't, you don't.
Yep.
But
Yep.
just keep flying. You know, you don't
Yeah.
have to make a video saying
Yep.
I'm
Have
not going to
fun.
comply.
Right.
You don't have to. And also another thing is you don't have to rail on the people that fucking do comply.
Yeah, we're all one family, and everybody's got different reasons to comply or not to comply, and for some people it's therapeutic to make the videos and get their opinions out there. But yeah, the time to really rail against it was 3 years ago.
Right. This hobby is a huge part of my life. I can't afford. I don't want to
It
lose
is.
it.
Yeah.
So if
Yeah.
I have to jump through hoops to fly, then fuck it. I'm doing it. It's
Yep.
just it's
Yeah.
Yeah, this
part of my-
hobby
part of
changed
my
my
life
life,
for
Josh.
a lot
I
of
mean,
reasons.
Yeah.
For the better.
Yeah. I'm in a weird spot because there's no way that I will say publicly that I'm not complying.
Right.
Unless I get to a situation where I say I'm going to make an example of myself, I hope that they come get me. The only reason I would ever intentionally say I wasn't complying would be because I want the consequences and I'm prepared to deal with them. But at the same time, that shouldn't be taken to mean that my position is everyone must comply. It's like I say everyone has the choice of whether to comply, and people hear me say, I expect you to comply. And I'm like, no, that's not what I said. I just said it's your choice. It's my choice too.
Right.
You know,
Yep.
it's everyone's choice.
It is. It's a personal choice.
Yep.
And there's something else that I want to bring up that was on that FAA video where that gentleman named Kevin, whoever that guy is, he works for the FAA, made a
Kevin
comment
Morris. Kevin Morris.
about needing remote ID on a sub 250 gram drone and having to have a 107 if you're going to go out and take a look or inspect your own roof. I believe
Why would you
that
need
is-
a 107 for inspecting
that
your
is
own roof? That's not
totally
commercial.
inaccurate. That is totally
well.
inaccurate.
Yeah.
And that was a big argument from XJet and all these guys. Oh, look, you need a 107 to inspect your own roof. That was a slip, in my opinion. I'm a 107 pilot, and that is nowhere near the truth.
It's hard to know because,
Wow.
there's just dumbasses at the FAA making videos who have no idea. It's not like they ran, I don't know, they probably did run that thing past legal. But it's like if you've dealt with them, you know that there's people who know things and make decisions, and then there's other people who sometimes make public statements. And like the two do not, like there have been cases where the director of the FAA did a public webcast or something and I don't remember what he said, but he made dumb statements that were just not true. And it's like, they're not legally binding, you
No.
know, so who knows?
Right.
Yeah, I just
Nothing to
definitely
get
wanted to
worked up about.
Crazy,
Right. And a lot of people did. And I wanted to make that. I tried to make that as clear as possible. That was. I think that was just a slip up, and he wasn't thinking straight when he said it. But that is totally inaccurate.
Yeah. Yep.
So JB, I got a question for you. What's your favorite thing to do your long form videos or to do your review videos? What do you enjoy most? Your live
Well-
streams or your
Oh.
reviews?
Well, The live streams are nice because you get direct interaction with people, and that's really rewarding. The live streams are nice because I don't have to edit them. and the live streams, usually the super chats from the live streams make more money than a typical video makes, because most of my videos aren't like banger videos that get 100,000 views. Most of them are in the 15 to 20,000 views. Like in 2 or 3 weeks, that's what they'll get. And then they'll sort of plateau. So they usually don't get a lot higher than that. So like live streams are nice for those reasons. I feel like some of the reviews that I've done that I've put a lot of work into are rewarding, and I'm proud of them in ways that like a live stream doesn't have a lot of craft behind it. You just sit down, you talk for 2 hours, whereas a review that I took, 4 days shooting footage and editing and then carefully, so they're rewarding in different ways.
Cool. Thanks.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, they do good. Review videos, educational videos, they do well on YouTube. Am I right?
Oh, yeah. People love product reviews. No, they love product reviews.
Right. And it coming from your channel with your mass being able to reach out, and the truthfulness is what I like the most. The honesty of the review.
Yeah. I try to be.
You don't get them as much as you used to. There's only certain people that I would actually personally watch that I know this dude's legit and not going to give me bullshit, save money coming out of my pocket.
I try to. It's funny how often people assume that the motivation for a review video is like the dumbest reason that people, and it's dumb because they just don't understand the true motivation of a channel like this. The dumbest reason that people misinterpret the motivation behind a video is they assume that if you got the product for free, that you then are like obligated to say something for it. And I am fortunate to be maybe for a smaller channel, giving you a $200 or a $300 quadcopter would be enough for you to be like, okay, I got to be nice because this vendor's feeding me something I really need. I don't want to disrespect me, to say that that's meaningless. It absolutely isn't. But the value of the integrity that people perceive me as having is worth so much more. And I don't mean that just from like a moral perspective. I mean like literally in terms of cash value. Having people believe that I'm telling them the truth is worth more than a drone, right? Right. So there's just, even if I was solely motivated by money, it still wouldn't make sense for me to be as bought cheaply enough that like a $300 drone would make me sell out my integrity. So both the financial incentive and the sort of I want to be a person I respect, and when I look in the mirror in the morning, they align, and people don't get that. I think.
Well, it's a matter of integrity, right?
Right.
Yeah. And I feel like I have integrity, but in addition, it's also, even if I were a cheap bastard who only loved money, I still would. It would cost more than $300 to get me to sell out. Right. I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
$300 drone.
I have a question for you, Josh.
Yeah.
You recently tried to. I want to hear your aspect of it and what happened. You tried to get your yard as a Fria.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yep.
What was their reasoning for not doing it?
That I'm in a residential development. So it's not a community flying area.
Okay.
Which I wasn't aware that Frias had to be community flying areas, but okay. I'm not sure that somebody go look in the definition of a Fria and tell me if that was predefined.
Right.
I suspect it wasn't, but I don't know for sure. So apparently they have decided that an individual, a Fria is not just an area where you don't need remote ID. It has to be like a community flying field. In other words, the AMA is shaping the regulation clearly. And then the other thing was that I was in a residential housing development, I think was the word they used, which if you look at my neighborhood from a satellite, I think it would be generous to call it a housing development, but okay.
Right.
and that the safety of my neighbors would be compromised by me not having remote ID. And it's like, are you joking? Like the safety of my neighbor? Like what? Just yeah, it's a joke. It's a joke. So I was rejected.
I don't see Fria as actually being successful.
They're going to be successful for AMA members.
For AMA members, for
Most
people, yeah, I was gonna say for people flying like fixed wing and or something like that, but
yeah, most people, most AMA fields are going to be accepted as Frias. Not all, by the way. I got a message from somebody whose AMA field is in the Washington, D.C. exclusion zone. He's not literally in Washington, D.C., but he's just outside of it, and it's in the exclusion zone. And they have an exemption to have an RC airfield there within the D.C. exclusion zone. They're allowed to fly there, but they were rejected as a FRIA. And he reached out to me and he was like, hey, can you help me raise awareness of this? And I was like, on the one hand, I feel for you, but on the other hand, I have an AMA field, and I thought I was going to get an exemption, and everybody else was going to get fucked over. But now it turns out I'm going to get fucked over too. Please do something. And I'm like, where were you 2 years ago?
yeah, no
exactly.
shit.
Yeah.
Where were you 2 years ago? And so I was like, dude, I'm sorry, but I got bigger fish to fry. Why don't you help? Why don't you help with the fight to get this whole thing undone so we can all fly instead of asking for you to get an exemption?
Very well.
no.
Very good point.
Mhm. Yep.
The AMA fields down here don't like us anyways.
Should I cut my AMA card up live on the air?
I'm no longer. I was a member. I was a member for a long time. I'm no longer renewing my membership.
Yeah, I'm not.
I just can't. I mean, I did it. I did it mostly for the insurance. For a while, I was a contributor to the AMA magazine, which was I thought that was a little prestigious. It was nice to get to put my voice in front of those members, and I tried to use that to raise awareness of FPV and talk about remote ID. And I was surprised they published some of the articles I wrote because I didn't come outright and say F the AMA, but some of them were explicitly pro FPV and we need to work together. Wink, wink. And after a while, I was just like, okay, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
And I no longer renew. I just can't.
Right.
They're just not. They're not.
They're not.
And they haven't.
No.
They're not helping.
There's a question here from Denadris, and I'm assuming that means remote ID, the RI. Should we agree to refuse to have RI product review video?
No, I'm not going to do that. Because the regulation exists, and there will be people who need to comply or want to comply, and I respect that choice. This is not like, I'm not sure what analogy to make that's going to actually make sense. It's not like it's a rule that says, you know, you have to like rat out your neighbors or something. Like it's, if an individual chooses to comply, I don't believe that that is actually making anyone's life worse. I know that there are people who would say that non-compliance is the key to getting it changed. I don't agree with that.
Yeah, correct.
And so if an individual chooses to comply, it's like if you knew, again, go back to cannabis. If you knew a guy who said, hey, I just got this job, they're going to be drug testing me, I need this job, I'm going to stop smoking.
Right.
Would you go, no, you need to keep smoking and fight the fight? No. There's other priorities in life. Sometimes you don't, you're not going to fight that fight.
You hit that bong again now.
Right. So if people, so I will 100% be reviewing remote ID modules and talking about the best remote ID module to get. I also have some plans for other content that is about ways to fight. I'll be good, but I'm not going to take that side and say anybody who complies is my enemy.
Yeah,
that's not what I'm
it's not. It's not the scarlet letter just because.
Right.
You know,
because I choose to comply, you know, me putting out a video on a YouTube channel that's got less than 1,000 subscribers saying don't comply, my voice is not going to help.
You're flying a Mavic 3. You're complying whether you like it or not, right?
I have an Air 2S.
Exactly.
And
exactly.
No matter what.
Yeah, I have an Air 2S, and it is built in. You know, now, you know, you'll get the DJI people that just can't fucking stand them. Sorry to
Yeah.
let you down, bro. But they're people. They make the best camera drones. I can't. You know what can I tell you?
And the most important message I would give is that people, it's important to not throw anybody in the community under the bus.
Agreed.
That we need solidarity as much as we can. And so I've seen people say, well, what if it was under 100 feet? It was okay. Well, what about the people who fly up to 500 feet, right? What about them? Don't throw them under the bus. I heard somebody say, what about only drones that have GPS drones? Oh, they need remote ID, but not FPV drones. It's like, no, don't throw anybody under the bus.
No.
And I feel like some people will accuse me of being hypocritical because I was, and I'm not trying to restart drama, especially not on your channel, but I was critical of some of the stuff that XJet has said. And people said, hey, you're throwing stones. You need to not be divisive. And there's some, I acknowledge there's some truth to that, but I felt like some of the stuff he was saying was divisive and I wanted him to stop doing that. And so my values at least are consistent, although maybe there was a less divisive way for me to go about that. But sometimes you just get ahead of steam and you leave a YouTube comment and then maybe you regret it later.
Well,
And it all blows up from there.
You have the right to do it. And the whole GPS should have them, FPVs. Just because they haven't flown 1,000 feet high and 2 miles out doesn't mean they can't.
Yep.
And I try to categorize it as one. I know there's a difference in FPV and GPS. I fly both of them, so I stay neutral. But to see the divide in between the two is actually quite depressing to watch. And I try to give my word as much as I can about staying unified. But there's people out there that just they can't handle,
It's all about respecting the different opinions.
Of course, everybody has their own opinion. Absolutely. Absolutely. I just try to stay as neutral as possible.
So since since we're almost up into the hour, guys, we just want to let Josh mention the Flow State film.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so it actually ties in. I know we've spent a lot of the time talking about remote ID. We made a movie a couple years ago, feature-length documentary about FPV. Flow State, the FPV drone documentary. The website is flowstatedocumentary.com, or you can just search for Flow State drone documentary. Flow State is actually a common buzzword, so actually if you go to flowstate.com, that's not our website. Oops. But it talks, one of the goals in making this film was to educate people about how awesome FPV is. And 80% of the film is FPV is awesome. The people in FPV are amazing. Here's why we love it. And then 2 chapters of the film are, and remote ID is bad and you should fight it. That information is based on the late 2020 time frame. So things have changed since then, but the message of the film is still there. And frankly, on some level, I kind of wish we could just make an FPV edit of the film where we take the remote ID chapters out and just let FPV, because we know about that, and just let people watch it. But it's available on all major streaming platforms. You can go to flowstatedocumentary.com. I say all, that's not true. I'm sorry. That's a lie. It's not available on Netflix.
It's on Amazon Prime. Right?
It's on Amazon Prime, though. That's pretty big. It's also on a whole bunch of other platforms including free platforms. Plex, Tubi, Hoopla.
Yep.
A whole bunch of other ones I've never heard of. And you can also buy a Blu-ray if you have a Blu-ray player.
I have it.
And there are there's over an hour of extra content that we didn't put in the final edit that is all super cool and worth watching. So if you want to see that, the only way to get that is on the Blu-ray.
Yeah, it's a beautiful documentary.
I got
that. I got it.
I have the Blu-ray, but I have not watched it because I don't have a Blu-ray player.
I know.
But I still have it. Unfortunately, I did not get the one with the JB coin in it, which I was pissed about. But I did get it. So
yeah,
it's all that matters.
Yeah, unfortunately. So people are like, "Why did you release a Blu-ray in 2022?" And I'm like, that was on the streaming platforms, for example, they made us cut out the YouTube handles of all the people who contributed footage. They were like, you're not allowed. The streaming platforms will not let you. Well, Amazon certainly won't. I don't know about some of the others. They might have let it slide. But Amazon definitely was like, we're not letting you promote these random YouTube channels. You got to take that out. There was other stuff we had to take out, and frankly, we had to edit it down to a reasonable length. And so the Flow State Blu-ray was the only way we could release it with all of the content exactly how we wanted it, because we're just completely in control of that.
Right.
So maybe we'll do a special streaming edition, just like the Vimeo site is fully controlled by us as well. So maybe we'll do a Vimeo edit of the long
That would be
version.
cool.
I don't
That
know.
would be
Cool stuff. So Pilot Ryan Media, thanks for the $9.99. He says, are they going to force fixed wing YouTubers to get a 107?
I mean, so there's two things here. The fixed wing versus multi-rotor distinction doesn't matter to the FAA. All of the rules we're talking about apply equally to fixed wings and multi-rotors. It's all an SUAS, a small unmanned aerial system, or an RC aircraft. As far as YouTube goes, if you monetize your YouTube channel, then the FAA expects you to have a 107. If you don't monetize your YouTube channel, then you do not need a 107.
Because you're making money. It's a business.
And if
Yeah,
you go
like a
by
business.
the letter of the law, the rules, if you're flying FPV, you're supposed to have a ham license.
Yeah, that's a
one
weird
If you're
one.
technical,
That's a weird.
about it.
But here's what's weird about that. What does the A in ham stand for?
Amateur.
Amateur. If you actually want to do commercial work through the FCC, you're supposed to buy a license, like a television show program, a television channel buys a license to a frequency. There is no way to use Part 97 to do commercial work legally that I'm aware of.
Right.
So get a ham license, but you're still not technically legal if you're doing commercial work. And no one has ever been fined for this, as far as I know.
Right.
So it doesn't really freaking matter.
And according to the ham license law, isn't it? I believe it's over 1 watt. Is it that you have to have it, or is it there's a certain?
No,
milliwatt?
it doesn't matter. If your video transmitter is Part 15 certified, you do not need a ham license. If it is not Part 15 certified, you need a ham license. Output power doesn't matter.
Got it.
Yep.
See, you're gonna learn something today.
It's simple. Either it has a Part 15 cert or it doesn't, and that's it.
Mark
Mary,
Sullivan
you
with the
learned
$2
something
super
today.
chat. Flow State needs a
Yep.
sequel.
Chris, QC, thank you. Johnny, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Pilot. Sorry, guys. I know we're getting to the end. Pilot Ryan Media says we're line of sight at an AMA field, been monetized forever. When's the deadline? Pilot Ryan, I'm sorry to say, but the time to get a 107 was like years ago. I don't know when the actual cutoff was. That is a completely separate thing from a remote ID. Remote ID, the deadline is September 16th, 2023. But you have needed a 107 if you're monetized on a YouTube channel for years now, and no one has dinged you for it. But technically, you're not in compliance.
Right. Got to get the facts straight here.
Yep. Oh,
Right.
I try.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, no, it's good to know whether you believe in
It's
it.
good
you
to know
agree with
whether
it.
you're a criminal or not.
Right.
Right.
Whether you believe in it or not, it's good to know. It's good to get out there.
FPV is not a crime.
Absolutely not.
It's not. So
There's
for
another
those of you that are looking to get your 107, sorry.
Yeah. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I'll throw it in there.
Yeah.
I have an affiliate link for
Go ahead,
Pilot
Dave.
Institute if anybody needs.
I'm
to
having
look it
Ooh,
up.
very
I'm
nice.
having audio issues, ain't I?
No, your audio is fine. You just seem to be lagging back a little bit, but it's not bad.
Sorry, I didn't mean to talk over you.
You're good. No big deal.
Hmm.
So, do we have any more questions for Joshua? Anybody?
No, that's
I know I
about
could
it.
probably run for hours, but
Yeah.
that's just me. I do have a question, Josh. What is your advice for anybody in the chats now watching for video or YouTube or anything as an FPV pilot? Just a generalization. With all the rules coming and
What's
and
my advice
everything
right now?
Right now.
My advice right now is just keep doing what you're doing.
Right.
Unless if you're a hobbyist and not a professional who's doing commercial work, and if you don't have like a high visibility YouTube channel, don't do dumb shit.
Mm-hmm.
Don't like buzz the tower at an airport. Don't fly over an NFL game. Don't do dumb shit that paints a target on your back. And keep having fun and keep doing your thing, and we'll see how it shakes out. But like, Other
Agreed.
people will deal with those problems before they even affect you, I think.
Yeah.
Agreed.
100%.
Well
Yeah.
put.
Yep.
Well put.
All right, so
And
guys,
if you're brand
here-
new, go to fpvknowitall.com.
There you go.
There you go.
JB will steer you right.
Yep.
Yep. And go to Fly High if you need some stuff. Dave's got everything there. Go to flyhigh.com, flyhighfpv.com. Anything you need there, go get it. Thanks to Dave. And also, don't forget, guys, make sure you mark your calendars. We have the Quad Mafia FPV Palooza 2023,
Right down there.
Eagle River,
Right there it is.
Wisconsin.
There it is.
And we like to
There it is.
announce our new. We like to announce our new sponsor. Place it here, Ken. He's getting the team shirts too. So we'd like to thank all the sponsors: GemFan, Beta FPV, RC Hackers, Pilot Institute, Chicagoland FPV, the guys here, and Fly High FPV, T Motor, Mobility Gates, and MEPS. So MEPS.
Maps. We're gonna see maps.
People,
That's a lot.
people saw
Long-
MEPS sponsoring you, and they were
saw
simulcasting
that.
in my stream, and they were like, "Bardwell got sponsored by MEPS." I was like, "Whoa!"
That's why I announced it at the beginning. This is not Joshua
No, we're not.
Bardwell's stream.
Yeah. So did you
had
guys
to
have
try
to
it
sign the
out there.
contract
We're not.
to promise
No,
to
I didn't
only
sign
say
no
good things
contract.
about MEPS? Come on.
They wanted us. No, dude, they wanted us to sign the contract, but I didn't do it. I go, you want to?
They did!
I'll do the review.
Somebody replied to my video, and he was like, "Well, that's not true. I know this one guy who didn't get the contract." And I'm like, "That doesn't mean there weren't 10 other people who got the contract. Come on."
MEPS right next to Fly High. That's good shit. We didn't plan that. I promise.
That's
Actually, it's got
rude.
nothing to do-
Rude. Very rude.
Got nothing to do with me. Mikey's the host.
It's too late to change. The
What did we
graphic.
say about throwing people under the bus, though, guys? Come on.
Right. It's all good. He
Yeah.
got some shit. He got some
So,
shit for somebody for
Yeah, yeah.
wanting to put out a MEPS video. And listen, let the guy do his own damn thing, man.
Yeah.
Stop fucking ragging him over something. So
I'm gonna
it
give.
is
I'm
some
gonna
shit.
give my honest review, and that's that. If they're
And-
no good,
and
I'm
do
going.
your thing.
That's it.
Do what you do, brother.
If they're no good, no good.
Yeah.
That's it.
So I got one more question for JB. What do you outside of FPV and teaching this great hobby and lifestyle of ours? What else do you enjoy doing? You golf? What else do you do?
Yeah, I like mowing my lawn. That's relaxing. I listen to podcasts and mow my lawn.
I saw you talking
nice.
about that the other day. You use a push lawnmower for
Yeah.
exercise.
Cool.
I play video games sometimes. Play some video games. I've been playing Metal Gear Solid 5 recently.
Nice.
It's an oldie. It's not that new, but I usually don't play brand new stuff. But I've been working my way through that.
On a personal level, you have a son, right? You have a son.
What's that? I do.
You have
I have two sons.
2 sons. How old are they?
12 and 4.
Oh, okay, nice. Yep. Damn, you got lucky with 2 sons.
Well,
I have one.
Dude,
I
I
ended
love
up with
the
4
outro
daughters.
you did.
oh, come on. You love your
I got
daughters. Come on.
4 daughters, man. 13, 12, 9, and 3. I love them to death, though. I wouldn't change it for
Obviously.
the world.
Obviously.
Would not.
Obviously.
Absolutely.
Joshua, you know what my 2 favorite outros of your videos are? Is when you go into the fridge and the one with your baby. Goo goo gaga.
Yeah. Yeah.
Goo goo gaga.
Yeah, people saw Quinn in the latest High Sinji Stargazer video, and they were like, "Oh my
Yes.
god, that's the baby from the outro." It's true.
Right? I
He's
love
gotten
his
older.
hair.
Yeah,
I love his hair. He's rocking that long hair, bro.
yeah.
Love it.
We don't cut our kids' hair until they say that it's okay. I figure I don't I'm not judgmental of other parents who do things
I
differently
agree.
than me,
100%.
but it's I'm not going to force my kid to get, because that could be really stressful for them, because you're cutting off a part of his body.
Right.
So he's like, "No, I like my hair long." I'm like, "Okay, dude, you're good."
Yeah, my son's the
question.
same way.
Question from Nappy. I know you let him fly that Stargazer, but does he fly on with you on a regular basis? Or
My 12-year-old doesn't fly. He doesn't. He just never got into quads, I guess. He likes video games. I'm sure he could fly if he wanted. He flew the sim for a while and he got okay at it, but he just never got into it in the real world. So
Yeah, I haven't been able to get any of mine to fly. Any of them.
yeah.
They're like ride-alongs, but that's about it. So, yeah, good stuff. Good show, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you guys.
So yeah, good show. Thank you for coming in, Josh.
Yeah.
Guys,
Thank you
it was
guys.
Josh.
a pleasure.
Absolutely. Great
Josh,
interview. Thank you
so
guys.
much.
It was really fun.
Thank you for your time.
Yeah,
Oh, thank you guys
thank
as
you.
well.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
a pleasure, JB.
Everybody,
Awesome. Same here.
his links are all in the description. Okay.
For sure.
All right. So with that said, guys, we thank you for popping in. Hit that like button. Go check out Josh's links, and we'll see you all at the Quad Mafia Palooza if you want to come. So there you go. Good night, everyone.
Peace.
Bye, everybody.
Good night.
Peace.
Bye.
It's so strong.